properties. It has a nice ring to it. Okay, so square root properties. We are working with. Did you share it with me, or should I just create a new one?
It's just called Braden, I think.
Is this the one from a long time ago?
Yeah.
All right. Well, what?
We can just create a new one.
Yeah, let's just create a new one. And in the future, you should just create a new one because they get kind of filled up. It's easier if you have a new one every time. Just create it and share it with me. Share it with Naperville Tutor. Okay. All right. What's your first question?
It is which one? I gotta find it. Oh, 3x squared minus 96 equals 0.
Okay. So whenever you have, you're right, this is a square root property. Whenever you have something like this, notice you don't, it's kind of like a linear equation. All you have to do is isolate the variable, isolate your x. So
Yeah,
get rid of what?
He wants us to reduce the final like root, and I don't
Right.
really do that. So I know how to like you put 96 to the other side.
Perfect. Good.
And
So
then,
3x squared equals 96. Then what?
I have to get my calculator in there. 32
X squared equals how much?
32.
Good. And
And
now we're going to take the square root, and don't forget to put plus or minus out in front of it as well, right? Okay, so he wants you to simplify the radical. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So I think. Wait 1 second.
So let me show you how I like to do it. I think of 32 and I write it as in my factor tree. Remember doing this before?
Yeah.
So what it goes into 32?
16 and 2.
Okay, and what goes into 16?
8 and 2.
Well, if you can see, it is 8 and 2, but can you see that it's also 4 and 4?
Yeah.
So if you see right away that that's a perfect square, be like, oh, there we go. So this really just equals the square root of 16 times the square root of 2. You understand that?
Yeah, but the only question is his answer is 4 root 2.
Well, we're not done yet. What's the square root of 16?
4.
It's 4. So plus or minus 4 root 2. That's your answer.
Okay, so basically it's just. Okay, so how you did that? So you had 16 and 2, and then you had 4 and 4. So you took 16 and 2. And then
Yeah, all I'm doing is thinking I'm rewriting 32. And honestly, to be honest, what I would normally do is I would just rewrite 32 like this. I would actually keep going. Like what you had said to me before is you said 8 and 2, right?
Yeah.
So 8 and 2, and then 8 is 4 and 2.
Yeah.
And 4 is 2 and 2. So you really have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The square root of 32 is really the square root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2.
Yeah.
That's the product of primes. But then what I do is I say, well, the square root, if you have 2 of the same thing,
Yeah.
then what is the square root of 2 times 2? It's just 2. It's just 2. And what's the square root of this one?
2.
Also 2. So really what you have is 2 times 2 times the square root of 2, which is 4 times the square root of 2.
Okay.
That's another way you could do it. So let's do another one. Give me another problem.
X squared plus 2x not equals minus 7 equals 0.
Okay. Now this is a different problem.
Yeah.
I can't isolate the x, right? So what do I have to do for this one?
So you have to divide the 2x by 2.
Okay. Are you trying to use completing the square?
Yeah.
Okay, so he has taught you completing the square. Are
Yeah.
there instructions about this one?
He just taught us how to do it.
Okay, because there's another way to do it. Have you learned the quadratic formula yet?
Yeah. Yeah, I also know that way too.
Okay, so there's two ways. Let's just do it both ways, just for fun.
Okay.
So you're right. I'm going to take this, divide it by 2,
Yep.
which is what?
1, and then you do 1 squared, which is just 1.
So I'm adding 1.
Yeah.
Then if I'm adding 1,
You have to do on the other
does he teach you to move the 7 to the other side?
Yeah, and the 1.
Okay,
But
so
that has to be
we're
back.
gonna put 7 on the other side. Actually, let me rewrite this. So I like what you're thinking. So there's two ways to do this. One is by completing the square, and one is by quadratic formula, CTS and QF.
Yeah.
So CTS, what I would do is I would first move the 7 over to the other side, or the -7.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, you're going to add 1 and you're going to add 1 on both sides. You're going to keep it balanced, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I did that is because now what can you do to this right here?
You can factor it.
Into what?
X plus 1 squared.
Perfect. That's why it's called completing the square.
Yeah.
And what's on the other side?
8.
Good. And now what?
You square root both.
Good. So x plus 1
Equals the square root of 8.
plus or minus. Don't forget the plus or minus. Square root of 8. And square root of 8. Remember what the square root of 8 is? That's 2 times 2 times 2.
Yeah.
So what comes out?
2 times 2.
A 2 comes out, right?
2 root 2.
There you go.
Oh, is that the other way you would do that?
Yeah, that's the way I always do it.
Okay, yeah, let me write that down.
So then subtract 1, and there's your answer. Now let's do it the quadratic formula way.
Okay, the same one.
Yep. See the formula I wrote at the top?
Yeah, b squared minus 4ac.
That's your quadratic formula. So x equals just what's my b?
My b would be 2x. So it would
Not
be
2x, just 2.
yeah.
Plus or minus the square root of what's b squared?
Wait, where? Okay, so b squared would be 2, right?
No, well b is 2. So what's b squared?
2 squared, which is just 4.
Good. Minus 4, what's a?
1.
And what's c?
-7.
Good. All over 2a, which is 1. So now when we're using quadratic formula, it's just harder to simplify. You got to do a lot of simplifying. So some people prefer this and some people prefer completing the square. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. What's 4 plus 28?
4, 32.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And now the problem is we're not done yet. And remember what 32 is? Let me do this to the side here. Remember we talked about this before? 32, square root of 32 is like the square root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Remember we just did that? So 2 of them come out and another 2 of them come out. So what does this equal?
4 root 2.
4 root 2. So this is -2 plus or minus 4 root 2 all over 2. And now you see how all of these have a 2. There's a factor of 2 that I can cancel out of all these.
Yeah.
So this equals -1 plus or minus 2 root 2. Hey, look, it's the same answer.
Okay. How?
Two ways.
So I know. Like sometimes you just keep it as the root. So let's just say it's like just root 10. How do you know when you're supposed to reduce it and when not to reduce it?
When it has a perfect square factor.
How?
So root 10 What is root 10? What's 10?
10's 10.
What does it break down to? What is the product of primes?
2 times 5.
Good. Is there any doubles in there?
No. Oh, so if it's like 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared.
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is if there's ever always break it down to its product of primes. And then if you see any doubles, then it can be reduced. If you don't see any doubles, it can't be reduced.
So like 2 times 2, 3 times 3.
If it's 3 times 3 or 4 times, well, you wouldn't have 4 and 4 because a 4 is 2 times 2, right? Primes. 3 times 3 or 5 times 5 or 7 times 7 or 11 times 11 or 10 times 10, any of those.
Okay, that's when you can reduce. All right.
Give me another one. This is fun.
Oh, I have one more question on that. In class, we just do b squared minus 4ac. We didn't divide it by 2.
Well, that's because you were only figuring out what the discriminant was.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm not, right here, I'm actually solving this equation. Sometimes they just say, tell me what the discriminant is. And that just is talking about what's underneath here. Because that tells you how many solutions there are.
Okay, yeah,
If this discriminant here, b squared minus 4ac, is a positive number, then you'll have 2 solutions.
Okay.
If the discriminant is a negative number, you'll have no real solutions because you can't take the square root of a negative. And if the discriminant is 0, you'll have exactly 1 solution because it doesn't matter if you add or subtract 0.
All right.
That's why you were doing that in class.
All right. This one's kind of confusing. X squared plus 5x equals 3x plus 11.
Okay. What's the first step I should do here?
Would you subtract 3 to 5?
3x.
Yeah.
Yep, subtract 3x. And what do you get?
2x.
Good. Anything else I should do?
Should you take 11 back?
Yep. And what would you have?
Just negative 11.
Good. Equals what?
0.
Good. See, you have to do that.
So you get factor.
So you could try to factor, or you could use the quadratic formula. Now, if you wanted to use completing the square, you didn't have to move that 11 back.
Yeah.
Do you like completing the square, or do you like the quadratic formula?
I like completing the square.
All right. Well, then let's not move the 11. Let's leave the 11 on this side because now what do?
You divide the 2x by 2 to get 1 squared, which is just 1.
So I do what?
You add it on both sides.
Perfect. Good.
And
what does this factor to?
Plus 1 squared.
Perfect.
Equals 12.
Perfect. Now what?
Square root both. X plus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 12.
Perfect. Let's do that trick. Ready? Let's see if you get the hang of this yet. What's 12? Break up 12. Start breaking it up for me.
2 times 2.
Well, 12 is 2 times 6, right? And what's 6?
Oh, 12 is 2 times 6. And then 6 is 3 times 2.
Good. So there are your primes, right? So what's 12? 2 times 2 times 3. So what comes out?
2 root 3.
Perfect. You got this. So this is x plus 1 equals plus or minus 2 root 3. And then what?
You just move the negative 1 or 1 to negative 1.
Mm-hmm.
Should you check that on every single problem?
Check your answer, you mean?
No, like do the square root tree or whatever.
Yeah, I would. If you have to simplify it, I would. Can I show you a little trick about checking your answers too?
Yeah.
All right, watch what I do. Can you see my calculator?
Yeah.
If you plug in -1 I'm plugging one of these answers in. -1 plus 2
Yeah.
square root of 3. And I'm going to store that. So do you see the store button in the lower left corner right above the question mark?
Yeah.
I store it. I'm going to store that for X. And I'm going to hit enter. So every time I type in X, it's going to give me that number back. So if I type in 5X, it's going to multiply 5 times that number.
Okay.
If I type in X minus 1, it's going to give me, it's going to type in that number and subtract 1 from it. Make sense?
Yep.
So if I type in X squared plus 2X, what should I get? Look up here. Look back at my problem. If I type in X squared plus 2X,
Yep.
what should I get? Shouldn't I get 11?
Yeah, you get 11.
Watch this. If I did it right, I'm going to get 11.
All right.
So that's how you can check your answer. Let's go back and look at another one. If I'm going to store -1 plus 2 square root of X, a square root of 2. Square root of 2. I'm going to store that for X. And now I'm going to type in what I had at the beginning. And what should I get when I type that in?
7.
No, I'm going to type the whole thing in.
Oh, 0.
With the 7, what should I get?
0.
I should get 0. Now, that doesn't look like 0, but guess what that is?
0.
That's 0.0. That's e to the negative 16 means 6 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 8 8 8. What is that really close to?
0.
It's ridiculously close to 0. So sometimes your calculator outthinks itself and it gives you like a very exact answer, because what your calculator is doing is just plugging those numbers in.
Yeah.
It's plugging this number in that I just typed in, but see how many decimal points that is?
Yeah.
That actually doesn't end there. It keeps going. So your calculator doesn't know that number was really still going. So just be aware of that. Okay.
And for 12, I thought you said that it would have to be like, it's 2 times 6. So I thought you said it had to be doubles.
It is. It does have to be doubles, but is 6 a prime?
Yeah.
No, 6 isn't a prime number. Can you break 6 down more?
Yeah.
3 and 2. So what is 12 equal to as a product of primes? 2 times
6.
2 times, nope, not 2 times 6. 2 times 2 times 3.
Okay.
See, what you could have also written is 4 times 3. 12 is also 4 times 3. And what's 4?
2 and 2.
2 times 2.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Give me another one.
All right, I got, let's see. Gotta find a good one. I had trouble on. X squared plus 10x minus 1 equals 0.
All right. So which way do you want to do this one?
Let's do the square, because I feel like he's like more into that kind of stuff.
Completing the square, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the first step you're going to do?
Divide the x by 2.
Not quite yet. What should you do first? Don't you like to move the 1 over?
Oh, should I move the 1 over first?
I mean, that's what we've done every other time.
Yeah, we can move it over. I sometimes do it after, but
yeah, you could, whichever. But let's just be consistent so we don't make silly mistakes. Now what?
Plus 25 on both sides.
Perfect.
And then that's x plus 5 squared equals 26.
Perfect. Now what?
Square root both. And then that's x plus 5 equals the square root of 26.
Don't forget the plus or minus. Let's do 26. What's 26 break up into?
13 and 2.
Does it break up? Does either one of those break up more?
Well, 2 is 1 and 1.
Nope. 2 is 2 and 1.
Oh, 2 and 1, yeah. Oh, so no.
So those are both prime, right?
Yeah, so it's just that.
That's it. That's it. So what's your answer?
X equals -5 plus or minus square root of 26.
You got it. Good job. More. Let's do more. We got about 5 minutes.
All right. Try to find a good one. X squared plus 6x plus 10 equals 0.
Okay. What's first?
Move the 10 to the other side.
Okay. X squared plus 6x equals what?
-10.
Good. Now what?
Divide the 6x by 2, and then you'll get 3, so it's 9 on both sides.
Good.
So that's x plus 3 squared equals -1, and
Uh-oh. What's that mean?
is that just no real solutions?
It is no real solutions. Now, have they taught you about complex solutions yet?
No.
Okay. So we're just going to say no real solutions.
Okay.
Soon you're going to learn that there are solutions. They're just called complex or imaginary solutions.
Okay.
But I won't teach you that. I'll let your teacher teach that to you.
All right. I got
Time for another one.
See if I can find a good one. 3x squared plus 18x equals 3.
Okay. What's first? Oh, this is a good one. This is different. So what do I do for this one?
Is there a GCF?
Yeah, there is actually.
So it would be 3x square, or no, it's 3x squared plus 6x equals 1. Or do you not affect, or no, equals 3, right?
Yeah, we're going to leave it like that, and we're going to say equals 3. Now, you can actually divide out the 3 right now if you want to. See how I can divide both sides by 3?
Yeah.
And that actually would make it easier. But let's just do it like this just for the heck of it, because sometimes that doesn't work. So now what am I going to put inside here?
Do you divide it by 2?
Mm-hmm.
Which is 3, so that's a plus 9.
Good. Now, am I going to put 9 over here on this side?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
because look at this. You see, am I really adding just 9 to this side of the equation?
No, you're adding 27.
I'm adding 3 times 9. So really what I should do is I should write 3 times 9 over here. You understand that?
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, so what does this equal now?
So that's 30 on the right side. And
Okay.
then this side, would you multiply it out then?
Nope.
Okay, so
What was the whole reason? What was the whole reason you did this?
to factor.
Yeah. And what does that factor into?
X plus 3 squared.
That's why we did. That's why it's called completing the square. Because you're making this exactly beautiful and nice so that see how you just have one X here?
Yeah.
Now what do?
Do you multiply it out now?
Should I?
Uh,
How would I get X by itself? What do I get rid of? This 3, or this 2 first?
wouldn't you have to get rid of the 3 on the outside?
And how do I get rid of that?
You divide by 3.
Yep. So x plus 3 squared equals, what's 30 divided by 3?
10.
10. Now, originally you could have done that right here. You didn't have to actually even do all this mess. If that you're like, oh man, I wasted all that time. I didn't have to do that. I could have just canceled the 3 out at the very beginning. But a lot of times you won't be able to cancel that out. So I wanted to show you kind of how the process works. So now what?
Square root both sides. X plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 10. So
And is square root of 10 going to be able to simplify?
Well, should we use our tree?
Sure.
Well, I can look on the calculator first.
Nope.
Right?
Nope. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't look
Okay.
on the calculator. What's 10 break up into?
5 and 2, which is nothing. So it's just square root
There you
of
go.
10.
That's right. So x equals what?
X equals negative 3 plus or minus square root of 10.
Perfect. Good job, man. I feel like you're getting this really good. But again, go back, watch this video again that I'm posting on YouTube and practice it more because there's just